My name is Jerica Kirkley. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm the Chief Medical Officer and co-founder of Plume, which is the first and largest digital health company dedicated to the transgender community. And backing up a little bit, I am a family physician by training. And so, I went into medical school or even thought about going into healthcare in the first place because I saw it as a vehicle for social justice. And that's always what motivated me. I saw a lot of communities around me that were historically underserved by the healthcare system and wanted to make a difference there in some way. And so had always been drawn to working with marginalized communities. And when I got into my residency training within family medicine, I really had the opportunity to take care of trans folks for the first time, actually as a physician. And it was an incredibly powerful process to be a part of that journey with patients. And I quickly recognized that there was a huge gap in care, right? That many people could not get that care. And whether that was hormone therapy or just basic primary care, there are not many providers doing it because it's not a universal part of the training curriculum when it comes to health professional schools. And so it was really a light bulb moment for me. And I from that moment, just knew like, hey, this is my path. I really want to dedicate my career to find ways to increase access to great quality healthcare for the trans community. Now, all the while, I was going through my own gender journey in different ways that kind of came to a head, about 3 or 4 years ago, and sort of understanding that I am trans and coming out to the world, and then having to face the healthcare system myself and face many of the same struggles and challenges that I saw my patients go through for many years, and started to walk that journey together. And that really became the starting point for Plume. All those experiences combined, my co-founder as well, who's a physician and has had his own struggles with the healthcare system. And we knew that it could be better. It could be so much better. And so we sought to build a virtually accessible, expert-backed, safe and comfortable place to get care as a trans person. So that's a little bit about myself, my background, and what I'm doing now. Well, I did talk a little bit about my passion for care for the trans community and care for marginalized communities broadly. And certainly is a big part of what I'll be talking about, in talking about the interplay of sexuality and gender affirming care and how they interface with each other. So that's, I'd say, probably the biggest piece, which, got me into talking about and working with trans folks. But it really feeds from a lot of my experience as a physician who's provided care for trans folks for over 10 years now, certainly a trans person myself, who's navigated a lot of those things on my own, and a lot of my friends and community members, and taking all that and distilling it down into, of course, a conversation through my lens, which can be limited despite that experience, but trying to give some context to how gender affirming care can affect our bodies and how we feel and think about sexuality. And while it's very individual for each person, I think there are some truisms that probably apply to a lot of people in certain ways. And then that actually, we get a lot of questions about that as a healthcare provider, right? Obviously, it's a very important part of many of our lives. And so I think it's important to talk about that, and so that we as healthcare providers and community providers can also speak a bit more fluently about that with our community members, clients, patients, as those questions arise. I'd love just to give an overview of gender affirming care and what we mean when we say that. And speaking to some of the both clinical and cultural competencies within gender affirming care and working with the trans community in a healthcare environment. I think first and foremost really is the foundation of all this, but also start to understand some of the nuances of gender affirming care. So things like hormone therapy and surgery, and then specifically, again, how those impact our bodies, our feelings, our thoughts about sexuality, and everything that contains, and to be able to walk away from it. Maybe it's just gaining a better understanding for yourself, and answering some questions that you might have had, but also doing that again for people that you might be working with in the community. So yeah, I guess at a high level, that's what I hope to accomplish with this talk. I am excited. Let's see. The thing that I'm most excited about this conference is, really just to see all the awesome topics and conversations that are happening. It's no, mystery to anybody in terms of the microscope that all of us are under working in the, gender and sexual minority fields. And so we need to be having these conversations more and talking about it in a positive light, and how we as a community can support each other, and also really make these conversations more the normal, as opposed to being othered all the time. And so, I think it's just super cool to be in a place where those discussions are happening in many different ways, and love to see more of it.